This is Jean Bruce. He is the co-founder of the Future of Student Housing here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Today, he's giving us a tour of the Hive, a student housing facility here in Edmonton. So if you're arriving in Edmonton, Alberta, and you're looking for student housing, you want to watch this video to the end. This is the Hive, a student housing facility here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, providing safe, secure housing options for students attending post-secondary education here in Edmonton, Alberta. And this is a solution to a problem that the founders face themselves as international students here in Edmonton. And in this series, I'm highlighting amazing businesses and careers by people who are either rebuilding or creating amazing solutions to problems and contributing to the Edmonton community. So let's get inside and see how this works.
Welcome to the Hive. Come on in. Today I'm going to give you a tour of the Hive, give you a little bit of background about the Hive itself, you know, what we do, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the show. So, a little bit about myself. My name is JB. I'm the co-founder of Elev Homes. By the way, JB stands for Jean Bruce. And a little bit about Elev. Elev, we're a platform. That's what started out. So we started out as a platform that is helping students find housing off campus. And it was actually based off of a personal experience that I myself went through. So I came here, you know, as international students, you know, looking for housing. And I went through the challenges of, you know, the whole prospect of like looking for a place to stay, for finding something that's affordable, something that's close to campus, and all these different things. And when you fast forward through it, you know, we figured, what if there was a better way of looking for housing? What if there was a better way of building, or at least connecting with other students? And so that's essentially how Elev came about, you know, from a personal struggle. The Hive, honestly, it pretty much came from the vision, you know, that we had with Elev when we got started about like what, 6 years ago now that we started with Elev. And it's funny because I remember when we started, at first we wanted to create something that would help students, you know, find housing off campus. But like at first we actually wanted to own, you know, the houses, you know, because we remember we were walking down this one streets one day, and we saw like buildings going up. We approached the constructors and asked them, okay, so like, what's happening here? And they told us that, oh, they're building, you know, apartments for future students, and they're actually going to be staying here for students. And so we thought, oh, what if we actually, like, you know, did something similar with the idea that we have about Elev, but like for students. Now, back then, it was a bunch of what, 18, 19-year-olds. And when you think about it, who in their right mind would give money to a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds, you know, to like go out and buy properties and rent out to students? And so when you fast forward to today and like seeing that idea, that big dream that we had kind of like shape up and come to life, it's really, really inspiring. Sounds good. So yeah, so here we're kind of like in the lobby area. And the cool thing about the Hive is that it's like right next to the transit station. So you know, like the transit station over there. This is, you can literally just like walk out. And
Oh, wow.
here to Churchill station.
Okay.
Churchill is like the connector to all the other like train routes.
Okay.
So you can take Churchill U of A to NAIT, McEwen, wherever you want to go.
Okay.
Take you there. So that's the cool stuff about.
Really, really cool. Really cool.
So now I'll take you to the study. This is kind of like a study area that is, you know, students will come in and study. And so you have like the study space, you know, people come hang out with your friend. Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, good. How's everything going? Awesome. Yeah, it's not the couch to hang out. You know, and then we have like this, the study spaces, desks, and you can come and study with your friends. And you know, if you want to do group study, it can happen here. But again, the idea here really is for people to come and study, group work, everything after the study can happen.
Yeah.
Then I will take you.
So how many students can the Hive take?
So in total, we are expecting to have about 120 to 130 students, but it will be in phases. The first phase will take about 60 students because there are 2 floors, single dorms, single rooms on each floor, and it's about 60 for the first phase and another 60 to 70 for the second phase.
So how are you taking applications?
So applications are happening on the app, Homes app. And so you can go on the app, look up like the listing on the app, and then in there, send an application, review it, and then if you're a good fit, you can do that.
Okay. So it should be
So there's 4. This is where we have the different rooms, and they're all done from all the way down there to where you are in the corner. Yes, all of these are rooms, and we have 2 types of rooms. So there's one type here. This is, I think we're referring to it. This room is called the loft.
okay.
That's where it is, and it's sort of like the structure is like a bunk bed at the top, and then you have a desk under.
Okay.
So you can study everything, and then comes fully furnished. Everything you need is kind of in here. You can control the heat in your room, and then the place where you want to store your clothes. So it's essentially as low as $588, but then there's like the Elev fee on top that takes it up to like about $600.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's essentially
For the month?
Yeah, per month. Yeah, $600, and then that includes everything.
Okay.
So utilities, Wi-Fi, furnitures, everything's included.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah. So that's the first style,
Okay.
and then same, different style. This is the core, and so this is your
Oh, okay.
room, desk, bed here, comfortable bed.
Okay.
Closet, everything in here. It's spacious,
That's
a bunch of
nice.
stuff. Exactly. And then same price across. It's about $600.
Yeah.
And again, everything is included. Utilities, Wi-Fi, furnitures, and yeah.
See.
And then we can look at the pantry.
Okay.
So this is the pantry. So where you can store your food, cook, the microwaves, the furniture, the fridges. What we did in this space, and even like across the building, is taking a more, I want to say, quote unquote, environmentally friendly approach, in the sense that you see that like a lot of the stuff that's in there has been repurposed. And so, for example, the storage, what we chose to go with this because, well, we have extra locker that's available sitting there, and so rather than like buying brand new and everything, we figured, you know what, let's just be more environmentally conscious, and then use what's already there and then make something out of it. Locker, where you can store stuff in there, and then kind of go from there.
Okay.
Where people can come and hang out. So
It's nice.
this is the commons, and they have nice TV. You can watch the World Cup games over here. If you want to see Côte d'Ivoire take the World Cup.
Yeah, in Ghana.
In Ghana, of course, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, taking
And
it home.
Canada.
In Canada, this is where it's happening. You can watch hockey games. everything in here. The idea for this room is about, again, like those connections, like having students come in, mingle there with their friends or the other people in the building, and use that as a place to just like, unwind and spend time together and have a good time. Yeah.
So is it only for international students or domestic students as well?
Yes, domestic, international, as long as you're students that's looking to stay off campus, this is the place for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
One you would come to about, I think it's like $400 or $400 per like bed.
Okay.
And then to go here, it's like really you and your friends.
Right.
Let's come here.
Okay, so of course there are 4 tables, 30 tables as well.
Yes, yeah, for the 4 people.
Okay.
Now, the Hive itself is essentially a way to sort of like connect that like search for housing for the students, but also creating a community, right? Because one thing that I believe in is when it comes to university, the biggest asset that you get out of university is, of course, the degree, but most importantly, the connections that you make by going through university. Because one day, you could be sitting next to someone that is very interested in, software development, or they might be interested, in graphic design and all those different things. And then when you fast forward 4 or 5 years later, that same person is working at a bank, for example, And it's funny because we actually have a similar story on our team. Jason, my guy right here, Jason, as you can see, Jason, he was here, one of the pioneers when we started with Elev. We had a dream, we had an idea, and we're all students. And Jason actually was, I think, was it graphic design or was it?
I was in computer science.
Computer science, there you go, computer science. And when we brought on Jason on the team, we actually needed some serious help with the coding of the app, the structure and everything, and even like the design, the UI and UX experience. And so Jason came on, supported us, and as he kept on going through his journey as a student, he eventually graduated, and then you fast forward to today, where he is actually working at RBC out of Toronto, which is super cool. And we have today, like this experience that we went through is something that we really want to bring to students, in the sense of like, okay, why just go to school to just get a degree when you can meet other people, that can help you, maybe down the road when you, look into the different things in your life.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of the idea behind the Hive. And again, we don't want just students to, we don't want students just from one school staying at in this building. We have students from like many other schools. So like, let's say, for example, you go to U of A, or you go to NAIT or McEwen. I want you all to come here, connect with other students, have a great experience, and then ultimately become a better person for the world.
Yeah. Jason, how was it like working on the project in the beginning?
Yeah, so when I joined Elev, I actually I knew nothing about working in a startup or anything. I was like, let me just find like an internship or something. I needed something. So I saw it on Instagram and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to apply. The worst thing that can happen is just I don't get anything. So I ended up getting a call back and I started working on this design. They liked it. They brought me onto the team. So yeah, it was honestly great. And I owe a lot to JB and Kevin and the founders of Elev because I really learned a lot. Like there's certain things I never knew about starting a company and just working in like a group like that, where we started with a big team and it shrunk to like 6 people. And we were grinding 4 or 5 years, just working. And to see where it's at now, it's really a testament to their hard work and to what we did 6 years ago as 19, 20-year-olds. So yeah, it's been great. And it's great to just see the progress. Yeah.
It's a lot.
How different is the Hive from traditional, student housing?
So the difference with the Hive is one, like I mentioned earlier, the fact that we don't just cater to just one particular school. We help with, students that are attending different schools and helping them, with finding housing, affordable housing as well. And the second piece is the fact that we, again, are taking like a very community-driven approach. We really want to focus on ensuring that students have a positive experience, but also become better tenants by the time they move out. So essentially teaching them the ins and outs of living off campus, of living with other people, of living in a different community, and again, building those connections with the students, or the tenants, or even like the roommates that they be, staying with. And so providing them all that experience is what we're looking to do here at the Hive and help them become, better people as they navigate the journey as students.
Yeah. So I know the Hive is one of your products. Mm-hmm. What other products do you have under Elev? Mm-hmm. And how many students have you so far served?
Yes. So under Elev, so the Hive is pretty much like our flagship project, our pilot that we're doing, which is unique in the sense that with Elev, what we typically do has been just if you have like a room or a house or an apartment that you're looking to rent out as a landlord, and you can list it on the platform, and we can sort of like streamline the whole process from like screening for the proper tenants, like bringing the right tenants in front of you, and then even as a student, like looking for all the places, and then once you find that place, you can sign the lease, rent out, pay the rent. All the different things were all done on the app. So you can think of it as long-term student housing, like long-term Airbnb for student housing. Mm-hmm. And so that's essentially like how we operate the business. And then we have the Hive, which is like, okay, now we have a building, we bring students in, streamline the entire experience, and then even go a step further and build a community of students.
Yeah, fantastic. I know you built this whole thing with a group of co-founders. Mm-hmm. What has been like the biggest lesson working with a group of people, to create something as amazing as this?
Mm-hmm. The biggest lesson? I would say the biggest lesson is learning how to lean on the strength and the skills and the talents of the team. Because one thing that you learn along the way is that you don't know a lot of things. You don't know everything, and you actually don't have to know everything. Like you have team members that have great skills and great strength in certain areas, and you want to like lean on those strengths and lean on those skills to help address different areas of the business. My background is in economics, in finance. I'm a numbers person. I like to use, data, I use numbers to tell a story, but I also like to get things done, and so as an entrepreneur, it's important to understand that when it comes to whether it be, like pitching, or when it comes to understanding the finances or the operation of the business, sometimes you have to just get in there, like in the numbers, in the detail, and make all the different things happen. But you also need to look at it from like the bigger picture, like like a different perspective. And so this is sort of like the approach that I bring into the team. We have someone that's we refer to him as the code whisperer. He can code anything, and like when we have these different ideas, we can go to him. He's the other co-founder, and he's able to like bring those quote unquote like ideas that we have to life on the app. And then we have the dreamer on the team, who is, he sees the bigger picture, the vision on where we can take Elev, how can we, bring this big idea that we have to life. And so this is actually like the three co-founders, how we work together. One dreams, one, help with execution, and then another like brings the coding side of things together. And so to answer your question, leaning on the strength, leaning on the skills, and leaning on the talent of the team to help things.
What's the hardest part getting started?
The hardest part getting started. Well, the question is, what wasn't the hardest part getting started?
Because I know it was a whole journey, like even bringing, choosing the friends that you wanted to work with, and, funding, all those things, major things. So, yeah.
The hardest, honestly, I think everything was a challenge, but I think the most challenging thing when getting started was the mindset. I think the mindset was the most challenging part because where I come from, like growing up back home, back in, Africa, you're taught that the path is you go to school, graduate, work, and then like 9 to 5 and everything, And so how that translated was in the fact that, well, when I was in university, when I came in, was like the mindset was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to focus on school, do nothing else, graduate, and then go down my way. But when I met the other co-founders, they really brought a different perspective to me in the sense that, well, yeah, you can go to university and you can, graduate and all different things, but are you really having a full experience? Are you really leveraging all the resources that are at your hand? And I remember when Kevin, one of the co-founders, approached me, at first I was skeptical because I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to, go into entrepreneurship and do all these different things. But then sort of brought a different perspective and a different, energy that I wasn't necessarily familiar with, but it intrigued me, and I'm someone that likes to figure things out and try things out to see how we can find a solution. And so at first it was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. But then the more I worked into it, the more I looked into it, the more my perspective, my mindset kind of changed and adjusted. And then from there, it was just a matter of okay, this is a new challenge. For example, funding is a challenge, or time is a challenge, or, getting new customers was a challenge. And then how do you adjust your perspective? How do you adjust your mindset to overcome those challenges? And so, yeah, I think the hardest part was the mindset side of thing, the perspective side. But then the more I worked on it, the more we were able to address things, the more it felt okay, we're doing something here, let's keep going.
Yeah. I was starting a business as a student with no money.
It's a humbling experience, starting with no money, in the sense that how to leverage your resources, because there are many free resources that is it really free? Because as a student you pay for tuition, but that's another conversation. But there are many resources on campus that you can leverage, to help with certain aspects of the business. Pitch competitions, for example, case competitions. Those are some ways, or even some ways to help, raise some money. And then from there, your part-time jobs, the little monies that you have, putting on the side, you learn how to save, and then put on the side and then try to put that into the business. And then also getting creative with other resources that are out there, because there's some wage subsidies that require you to provide, let's say, for example, I don't know, 30% or 40%, and they put the other part. And so okay, let's say we need to, I don't know, I'm going to take a random number here. We want to get someone on the team, and that's going to cost us $1,000. And there's a subsidy out there that's going to cover, let's say, 60% if you're able to bring in the 40%. It's okay, so I need to bring in $400, right? So you find a way to get the $400. Once you put it in, they have the other $600. That becomes $1,000, and you can bring somebody on the team. And so just finding ways to get creative and just not stopping at the obstacle.
So thank you so much.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you for coming. It was awesome.